Hey guys, it's Sekaar, and today we're going to be going over my Magic Templar build for the Firesong chapter. I'm really liking this build a lot. I feel like this is the best way to make MagPlar work this patch. It's kind of in a tough spot, but I feel like with this build, it kind of makes it really viable. And honestly, I'm a big fan of it. So if you guys enjoyed the build, I would appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Helps me out tremendously. And just liking the video helps me out in the algorithm as well. So if you guys want to help me out with that, that'd be awesome. But honestly, no more talking from me. Let's just get on with the build. Alright guys, let's get started. First things first, we're going to look at our character sheet. We're definitely going to be a Breton on our Templar. Breton's going to really help for your overall sustain because of that reduced magic cost. So I really enjoy this. If you want to get more stats for your stamina and such, I recommend going with Dark Elf or something. But personally, I think Breton is the best choice right now for Magic Templar. Our attributes are going to be 35 points into magic and 29 points into health to give us a 31.4k max health pool and a 23.6k max magic pool. That is more than enough magic, that's more than enough health, and our stamina pool is also 15.3, which we're only using one stamina ability on here, so it is very easy to sustain your stamina. You don't ever have to worry about that. So that's how our max stat pool is going to break down. Without our spell buff, we are going to be at 4,800 spell damage, which I think is pretty high. It gets a lot higher than this. It gets to just shy of about 7k, so that is pretty good in my opinion. I'll show you a little bit later how high it gets up to. Our Mundus is going to be the Apprentice to increase our spell damage as much as possible. And we're going to be Vampire Stage 3 as always. I know that a lot of people aren't liking Vampire Stage 3 right now because of the increased fire damage and how Siege is broken right now on PC and A. But personally, I think it is still the best way to go. It's still the best way to be as tanky as possible. That Undeath passive, getting that reduced damage taken, the less health you're at, is absolutely necessary in my opinion. And I think that doing this is honestly the only way to really be tanky when you're really at that low health level. Our food is going to be our Zergo Smoked Bear Haunch. That is the best way to increase your max health and your recuv as much as possible. It's going to increase your max health by 4,300 and then your magic and stamina recovery by 369. If you can't afford this, I always say this in literally every video I do because I always use those Zogas. If you can't afford this, which is completely understandable, the food is actually insanely expensive on PCNA. Just use the Jewels of Misrule food. You lose a little bit of health and a little bit of max recovery, but honestly, it's really not that big of a deal. You're saving so much money in the long run. I definitely recommend it if you can't afford it. So don't stress about it. Use that one instead. Our gear is going to break down like this. Our monster set is going to be Balorgs with a heavy reinforced helmet and a light Divine's shoulder. Balorgs is going to give us a line of weapon and spell damage, while the two-piece is when you use an ultimate ability, you gain weapon and spell damage equal to the amount of total ultimate consumed. So if I use a 500 ult, I'm going to be getting 500 weapon and spell damage for a brief 12-second period, which is honestly so much extra damage. It is huge. But also, what's also very important about Balorgs is not only do you get weapon and spell damage, but you also get physical and spell pen equal to 23 times the amount as well. So if I use 500 again, we're going to be get 23 times 500, which I don't even know what that is. I'm bringing up my calculator real quick. 23 times 500. 11,500 pen if you use 500 ultimate. Guys, if you just save for 500 ultimate, you'll be able to just absolutely tear through anybody. So I really like Balorg. It's a great way to line up your burst when you're getting your ultimate down. I love it so much. To me, it's the best monster set I've been able to find for this build so far. Our chest piece is going to be, it's going to be our front bar set as well. It's going to be heavy Wretched Vitality and reinforced. Wretched Vitality, the two-piece is going to give you magic recovery, three-piece stamina recovery, four-piece is going to give you weapon and spell damage, and then the five-piece, basically to put it in simple terms, while you're in combat, if you use a major buff, you're going to increase your recovery, your magic and stamina recovery by 260. If you use a minor buff, you're going to increase it by 130. So if you have both of them active, you basically get 400 magic and stamina recovery. And honestly, that's so simple to keep up. Just keep on weaving your abilities, and you don't really need to stress about keeping keeping that buff up because it automatically always reapplies. So It is a great way to just keep your sustain up. If you feel like you're over sustaining on this build, just honestly go with another damage set instead. But I feel like my damage is nice, my recovery is nice, my tankiness is nice. I feel like this is the perfect build right now for Magic Templar, and it's the best one that I've been able to come across. So personally, I really like Wretched Vitality on this build. Our other set is going to be a light Rallying Cry in Divines, because Rallying Cry is amazing right now. The 2-piece gives you crit chance, 3-piece max magic, the 4-piece is another crit chance, but that's only on your back bar, and the 5-piece also again on your back bar. While Battle Spirit is active, aka when you're in Cyrodiil, Battlegrounds, Imperial City, or in a duel, if you critically heal yourself or an ally, you're going to gain 300 weapon and spell damage, and on top of that, 1650 critical resistance. And that is honestly amazing for solo play. Gain to increase your damage and your tankiness that much is honestly, it's unprecedented. That is without a doubt the best backbar set in the game right now, in my opinion. And getting that resistance is huge because you also get to build into Divines. Because you have that crit resist, you don't need to build into Impen. So it's honestly just giving you defense and offense in the same exact build. So I love it so much. Our feet are going to be light Rallying Cry in Divines as well. Our legs are going to be heavy Wretched Vitality and Reinforced. And our hands are going to be medium Wretched Vitality in Divines to break down our armor weight with 3 light, 3 heavy, 1 medium. Our jewelry is going to be, our necklace is going to be Trainee in the Swift trait with a spell damage glyph on it. Trainee, we have 1 extra slot on this build because we do a front bar set and a back bar set. You're always going to have 1 extra piece. So getting that max health up as much as possible is probably the best way to go about using that extra slot. That 1,400 max health is really huge and really helps you out so much. Our mythic on this build is going to be Markin. I know a lot of people use Sea Serpents nowadays, but honestly, I can't stand the snare anymore. I don't like being slow in this game. I really just like the consistency of Markin because we're having the 3-piece of Wretched Vitality and the 3-piece of Rallying Cry active at all times. So that is why I really like this, because Markin's going to give you 200 weapon and spell damage and 2300 armor. So getting, again, offense and defense in one set. I love it. And then our other ring is going to be Rallying Cry infused with a spell damage enchant on it. Our front bar weapons are going to be dual wield maces for Wretched Vitality. Our main hand is going to be Nirnhoned, and our offhand is going to be Sharpened. Our main hand glyph is going to be shock damage. Our offhand glyph is going to be physical damage and stamina restoration. And then finally for our sets, we're going to be using Rallying Cry as our back bar Ice Staff in defending. Ice Staff, this is going to increase your resistances as much as possible. And if we look into it right here, always make sure, I was making this mistake for a long time and I'm still making it up now apparently. Wow, I can help my sustain even more now. Do not use this passive right here with Trifocus, because then you're going to be using magic when you block instead of stamina. So, and you don't want that. It's not really a great way to keep your stamina up as much as possible, because that's your less of the 2 resources. Make sure you don't use this at all. I like to be able to just keep my magic sustain as high as possible. That way I could just continue to go offensive, offensive, offensive. So not a lot of people know that. Even I don't even. I must have accidentally put it in last night when I was tired. But guys, don't use this at all. But while we're here, let's look at our skills. Our main spammable is going to be Puncturing Sweeps. I know a lot of people don't like this skill right now, but honestly, to me, it really doesn't feel as bad as a lot of people were saying. I mained MagPlar for a very, very, very long time on both console and on PC, and honestly, it feels good to just get that shorter duration of jabs. I know it's a little clunky, but it still works just as effective if you know how to use it. Degeneration, honestly, we don't really care too much about the dot. The dot isn't bad. I'm not saying it's not good, but I'm just saying we just care about the major brutality and the major sorcery, increasing our weapon and spell damage by 20%. Aurora Javelin, this is now unblockable, so I absolutely love this ability so much to be able to line up bursts. So if somebody's blocking, you could still CC them through it, and I love it. And I will explain the exact combo later. Living Dark, this is just a great heal to keep on your bar at all times. I know that it was nerfed, but it's still amazing. I use Radiant Glory because I like the healing morph of it too. I know that the other morph is a little bit better, and I probably will switch to it eventually, but I just really like this morph for now. I still feel like I'm shredding, and I still just like the damage output that I have going on right now. So our last ultimate on our bar is going to be Shooting Star. I know the other one, again, does more damage, but I feel like the damage is high enough on this build where if I generate the ultimate for hitting people on this, I'm going to get another meteor back sooner rather than later. And to just get bursts out as much as possible, especially when you're fighting a lot of people, I think is absolutely massive. So the combo for this basically is you're going to be wanting to use jabs on your enemy, kind of get them to about 60% health or so, and then hit them with the meteor, and then directly after the meteor, use Aurora Javelin, and then just hit your Radiant Glory and watch people melt. I love it so much. And onto our back bar. So we're going to be using Channel Focus as our source of major resolve. This is going to increase our physical and spell resistance by 6k. Then also you're getting magic back over the duration as well. And on top of that, when you're standing in it, you're also healing. So you become very tanky in here because, you know, you got your resistances up. You're getting health back every second. So if you need to really just get your health back, just stand in your rune and just rotate between your heals and you will most likely not die. Race Against Time, this is going to be your source of major expedition, so you're going to be, you know, pretty fast on this when you're doing that. It's going to increase your movement speed by 30%. You're also getting Minor Force, so it's going to increase your critical damage by 10%. Then on top of that, you're also getting this this snare removal, so, you know, all immobilizations and snares are going to be immune to you, and you're just going to be running free for 4 seconds, so it's perfect. And then Resolving Vigor, this is going to be your main heal on this bar, or your main heal over time. This is going to, you're not really going to have stamina sustain issues at all because this is your only stamina ability. And you're on top of that, you're also getting Minor Resolve, so it's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 3k for 20 seconds as well. And then also our main burst heal is Honor the Dead. Honestly, guys, every MagPlar in the game runs this ability. There's a reason why. It is amazing. The heals on this hit so hard. I definitely recommend using this ability for your main burst heal for when you're at about 60% or lower health. And then Ellie Susceptibility. This is a great way to get into your enemy's resistances. You're going to be putting Major Breach on your enemy, so it's going to reduce their physical and spell resistance by 6k. And on top of that, every 6 seconds while this ability persists, the enemy is afflicted with the burning, chilled, and concussion status effect. And honestly, do not sleep on the status effects, guys. That is absolutely huge. It is amazing for your extra damage output. I love it so much. And then on our back bar is Temporal Guard. Honestly, the only reason why we have this on there is for the minor protection to keep that tankiness up as much as possible. And then our champion points. Our blue slottables are going to be Master at Arms, Ironclad, Wrathful Strikes, and Focus Mending. Our red slottables are Celerity, Survival Instincts, Pain's Refuge, and Sustained by Suffering. And the green slottables, they're really the only green things in the tree that you really need to care about too much, are Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, and Breakfall right here. Alright guys, let's go real quick look at the buffs on this build. So my Rallying Cry just procced, and if I hit my Degeneration, I'm about 6k spell damage. So it is really nice to be able to look at that. Our spell resistance gets up to 32,000. Our physical is 27,000. Our spell damage is up to about 6k. And our recovery is very high on this. So let me look at it again. We have both procs of our Wretched Vitality up as well. So our magic recovery is all the way up to 1777. And our stamina recovery is up to 1458. So honestly, that sustain on this build is absolutely massive. And I like it so much. It's actually just so much recovery in one. So I love it. The recovery, the damage, everything about this I really like. So guys, really hope that you enjoyed the build. If you did, please just like the video. That simple thing alone just helps me out so much. And if you're not yet, please subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 4K subs, and honestly, every single person helps. And I know I say this every video, but it really does. And I really appreciate the support I've been getting from you guys lately. It is honestly, it means the world. So guys, that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see this build live in action, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Sekaar, where I stream 5 days a week. The link will be in the description below. That's it from me. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Later.